What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Sinister Bunny Studios, your go-to channel for heavy metal content. And today, we've got another review of an awesome guitar plugin that you can buy that sounds really good. But this time, it's not from Neural DSP. It's from STL Tones. This is the STL Tones Andy James Tonality. Just like last time with the Fort Nameless plugin, I want to give you guys a small, rough demo of a little song that I made using this plugin before I walk through everything, so you can get just a taste of what this thing can do. So let's roll that, and then we'll get to the walkthrough. Alright, everybody, so this is the Cubase session that I have for the song called Glory that I wrote using the Andy James Tonality plugin. And, well, let's just kind of go through it a little bit. I've got my drum track, my bass track, one guitar, two guitar, which is left and right, hard pan left and right, guitar solo, a guitar solo harmony, two clean guitars left and right, and then some group tracks, and that's it. And so for this beginning piece that you heard, so that, I have very few things on it. So in the actual plugin itself, I'm using the Arrival lead tone, which is number 6 on the preset list, and it's basically just that liquidy kind of tone that I got for the solo. I've got some EQ on the end of it just to roll off some of the low end, and then I've also got a multi-band compressor for some of the palm mutes later on in the solo section, and that's pretty much it, and that's the sound you get from it. Really usable mix-ready tone. For the guitars, for the rhythm section, for that, in the STL Tonality, I'm using number 8 on the preset list, the Punchy Rhythm preset for Guitar 1, and for Guitar 2, I am using this same exact preset. And so you can already see that just using for the two rhythms, I have the Punchy Rhythm preset, and then for the solo, I have the, what was that called again? The something lead, Arrival lead tone, and that's the guitar tone of this entire song, pretty much. And yeah, it just works really well. I only have two rhythm guitars, and that's it, and it just works. And for the rhythm guitars, I have another thing of EQ on there. I'm rolling off some of the low end. I'm cutting out some mud here in the low mids and stuff, boosting a little bit at 100 hertz for some thump. I got a high shelf on the end over here, and then just a low pass to cut off the extreme high end that you get with digital amps. And that's pretty much it. That is the whole basis for the whole song, except for the clean section where we have these clean guitars here. Which is really, really cool because this plugin has something called Acoustic Clean. And it reminds me of like a piezo pickup system where you get like the acoustic side of the sound of your electric guitar rather than the magnetic pickups that you normally have. So you get that kind of acoustic, dreamy sound. And it's basically like an acoustic guitar simulator for an electric guitar in a way. I'm sure you could use this on an acoustic and it would sound amazing too, but it basically made my electric guitar very chimey, crystally sounding, and kind of like an acoustic guitar. And I think in this instance it worked very well for just the tone of the song. And it worked really, really well. And it was really cool. It's a very, very cool preset. Very, very cool. Okay. But now, you guys have already heard the song. I've gone over some of the parts. Actually, let me show you my master bus here, just to give you a full transparency of what I'm doing for the song. I got some EQ going on here that you can kind of take a look at here and zoom in and analyze if you want. I have a saturation and compression plugin on here called Ferric TDS that does some cool stuff. I have it on the mix glue setting, and I added some saturation. And then I also use Ozone 9 Elements for my master thing. For my EQ, a little bit more EQ here just to brighten things up a bit. I took the imager off, which is like a stereo imager, so you can see the width of your song. And then it's got a limiter or a maximizer on it just to make everything super loud without clipping. And that's it for my master and mixing chain. And without further ado, beyond that, I'm going to pull up the actual plugin here, the standalone version, because with all the stuff I got going on in the actual Cubase session, I will get some latency, and so what I do to get past that is I pull up the plugin in standalone, which you can do, and just play through this and record it onto Cubase without monitoring the track in Cubase, and I can get it done without any kind of latency. So to start off, you start off like this. I believe this is the preset that comes when you first open it. This is the Amp 1 preset. It's just like a rhythm tone. I forget the rhythm already. Sounds really good. Amp 2 is the second rhythm section. Got a little bit of reverb or some delay on there. Amp 3 I think is a clean section. Sounds really cool. It's a very crystally sounding clean channel. Another rhythm. Kind of woolly. Mid-range riffer is another cool one. That'd be more of a Djenty tone for those of you looking for some Djenty tone. So there's a lot of different, different things you can look up. They got a couple lead tones. They got the punchy rhythm that I used for my song, the acoustic thing I talked about, a breakup clean lead, which is interesting. Ambient breakup tone. And then you got this other one at the end called lo-fi, which would be cool to add in like a middle section to add some dynamic to your song, or maybe even at the beginning. And have it boom kick in. So it's kind of cool. You get a lot of presets and everything. So what I'll do now is just kind of walk through the plugin itself, because it is a little confusing compared to Neural DSP stuff, which is not really fair to say, because Neural DSP pretty much knock it out of the park. But this is the basic layout of the plugin itself, and I mean, yeah, it's based off of Andy James's preferences, and Andy James is a really cool guy. If you don't know who he is, then you should definitely look him up. I remember for a long time watching a lot of the videos that he was in for Lick Library, doing like guitar tutorials and lessons and stuff like that, just like learning how to shred. That's the kind of stuff he does. So if you look up Andy James, you'll find a lot of his solo music. It's really shreddy, solo artist type of music, and it's really, really good. And so I think he's got like a signature guitar with Kiesel guitars and stuff like that. So, you know, he's just another one of those like guitar aficionados, guitar prodigy type of guys, and he's really, 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 really good. And he's gotten a lot of recognition in the last handful of years. Not that he didn't before, but a lot more now. But this is the basic layout of everything. And if you look at the top, you have a bank here. I'm actually not sure. I guess you can create a bank of your own presets and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. So you got Andy James presets. You got his custom presets, which is even more sounds in the preset section. And then you also have a tones preset, STL Tones presets, which is like the factory presets that you get with it. And so there's a lot of different presets that you can go through. I just used the first list because they sounded good to me, like right off the bat. And then you can go over here to the actual presets, and you can add your own and any kind of fun stuff. So basically with the bank, if you make your own set of presets, you can make a bank of it and have it pull up here. And then when you pull it up, you'll have all those presets that you've made in that bank right there at the preset section. And so you got all these buttons for it, and you got routing that you can do. You can either do mono stereo, or stereo routing. You have a normal mode for everything and a mixer mode, which is a different kind of UI. It gets a little more complex, I think, but that's okay. You can dive into this thing a million miles an hour if you really want to, or you can take it slow at 10 miles an hour. Obviously, you have the amplifier face at the front here, which has all your controls and dials and stuff that you can mess with. It's all interactive, power. You can even change the power tubes, which is a really, really cool feature. So you can just change from EL34s to 6L6s and KT88s, which is a really, really cool feature. Not a lot of plugins allow you to switch out the power tubes or preamp tubes or anything like that. So that's a really cool feature that they added into this. You can see at the very bottom, you have your input gain. You actually have a gate, which is really nice because that comes in handy. You have a tuner, which is really nice because then you can tune right from the plugin itself. You have the three different amps. You have the amp 1, amp 2, and amp 3. So it's like a crunch, lead, and clean tone. Then you also have a handful of cabinets that you can pick from right here. I don't know why I can't see. Oh, yeah, you can look over here. So if you look at the cabinet section, just by clicking under the cabs, I hit that button there to pull up the cabinets. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4 different cabinets that you can pick from, except that 3 of them are actual cabinets, and the 4th one is like you can load your own impulse responses, which is kind of a must-have for any kind of guitar plugin nowadays, because people have all sorts of different impulse responses that they make and that they sell, and then you can download and you can make your own and all that fun stuff. Just another way to change up your sound. So you can load your own custom IRs if you want to as well. Looking over here at the bottom right section, you have a stomp, amps, cabs, and effects section that you can go to. So you have the stomp section where it's got STL Tones overdrive. It's like an 808, like a tube screamer type of overdrive. You have Andy James's Revenant pedal, which is like his own signature pedal that's really cool, that it's a physical pedal, and it's really cool that they include it into this whole plugin, because it's an actual stomp box that you have to buy physically, but you can also get it in this plugin. You also have another routing pedal for the amplifier and power amp, and some other cool features that you can do to mess with the sound of everything. And it's just really cool, just a different way to change everything up. Obviously, you have the amp section that we looked at earlier, you have the cab section, and then you have the effects section, which is really cool too. So you've got a delay, a reverb, and then that lo-fi sound that I was showing you earlier. So the delay pedal is really cool. You have a lot of different things that you can do with it. So if I turn it on, and let's see, let's get it really, really, really dripping wet. Hearing anything? Oh, that's why. So you have to click on for the stuff right here. See, under my FX, it's off. So boop, turn it on. Which is kind of cool. And so you can turn different things on and off. But you can see over here on the arrival lead tone. So you can see where that delay pedal comes in handy with the reverb and everything, which, yep, delay and reverb are both on in this section, and the lo-fi pedal itself is turned off because it's not a lo-fi sound. And that's where that sound came from in the song, is literally all this. So, I mean, there's a lot that you can dive into with this pedal. I mean, there's so much that you can do with this pedal. And normally I would sit here and spend a long time just messing with, messing with the tones and stuff like that. But I think the change that I want to do with the series is I'll show you guys some tones and everything like I did earlier, but I also want to just give you those demos of like the actual use that you would have for this thing other than practice, for people like myself that would record music with it. I think it's a better example of how you can use it other than me just kind of noodling around with some of the presets, which has its place. Like I said, I'll noodle around with some of the presets and everything like I did earlier just to showcase what they can do and what they sound like. So it's got a lot of stuff that you can do with it, and it's just a really, really well-built plugin if you're looking for some kind of guitar sound or anything like it. And I'm trying to go over everything because I don't think there's anything I missed other than the mixer mode that you can look at, where you can see everything at a greater glance instead of trying to push all these buttons. You can switch to mixer mode and, you know, switch the amps and turn the amps on and off and do all this different stuff. Have your cabinets, switch the cab from 1 to 2, 3, whatever, blend them, turn your effects on and off, turn your stops on and off. It's just like normal mode is like you can go super in depth and push a lot of buttons. Mixer mode is like an overall bird's eye view look of everything, where it's easier to turn things on and off and switch things with a couple buttons and do different things to your signal chain to get it to where you want it to be. And I think at that point it's kind of a personal preference as to whether you use the normal mode or the mixer mode. But that's just kind of what I think about it. I never really got into the mixer mode. I've only had this thing for like a week. And I've been trying to rush to get the song out to you guys, so I didn't have a lot of time to go super in depth with it, but eventually I think I would use the mixer mode because it seems a little easier and a little more clean than the normal mode, but that is what it is. So it's overall a really, really good plugin, but I do want to talk about one con that I have with this plugin, okay? There is one con that I was running into when I was using this plugin that I have not had issues with the Neural DSP stuff, and that is cutouts. So every once in a while, the output signal would fart and cut out when I was playing with it. So, and I know it's not my hardware or anything because I've never had those issues before. It's something with this plugin. I don't know if it doesn't keep up exactly right, but that's like a small thing, and it happens every once in a while. And I could see where it could be frustrating because it could happen in a really good take if you're recording something. But, I mean, it makes up for everything else in how good it sounds. And especially being a signature of Andy James, it makes it even better. But that is kind of a pet peeve. It's something that maybe they can work out with some updates down the road. But I've never had those issues with any Neural DSP plugin I've ever used. And again, it's not fair to compare them to Neural DSP because Neural DSP is like taking off with everything. But either way, if you don't want to go for the Neural DSP stuff and you want to shoot for some stuff from STL Tones, the STL Tonality Andy James plugin is actually really, really good. And I want to thank the folks over at STL Tonality Tones in the first place for making such a great plugin, along with Andy James, who's an amazing artist. And I thank him for being able to do something like this to give people like myself and you guys something really cool to use at home in your own studio to record awesome sounding music. So overall, that's the whole plugin. If there's anything that I missed, let me know down in the comments, and I can try to answer any questions in a follow-up video or down in the comments with direct replies. If there's anything that I missed or something that I didn't go over well enough that you want more information on. Other than that, let me know what you think of the song that I wrote for this, and let me know what you think of this whole plugin itself. How does it sound? How's the UI look? Like how's the overall aesthetic of it and everything? Just let me know what your thoughts are on this. And like I always say, thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video. Stay metal, my friends.